Going to Europe provided us with the opportunity to experience two different European cultures, French and Spanish. Spain and France have a lot to offer to locals and visitors alike. From a wide variety of tourist attractions to exploring popular foods, both countries have a lot of culture to offer to people from all around the world, and we were lucky enough to enjoy it. Here in our final trip presentation, we will address tourism in both countries, food and food eating styles, as well as the business culture in both France and Spain. We greatly enjoyed the trip and we're excited to share what we learned along the way. European culture influences many aspects of food in both Spain and France, such as mealtime and portion sizes. The first aspect culture impacts is the time that people eat. In France, dinner can be served as early as 7 in the evening. In France, dinner is a rich meal, typically beginning with a starter course, a main meal of beef or chicken, and a glass of wine. It may be finished off with dessert. In Spain, dinner typically begins around 9 in the evening. Unlike in France, dinner in Spain tends to be a light meal because it is served so late. Sometimes dinner may be skipped altogether and replaced with tapas, small Spanish appetizers that are meant to be shared among a group of friends. These appetizers are served in small portions so the people can order a variety to try and enjoy. Spain has a variety of seafood available that is incorporated in both paella and various tapas. In comparison to our meals in France, it was much easier to find a fresher, less decadent meal in Spain. Dishes were not loaded with butter and cream like in France. Instead, they used fresh, local ingredients such as tomatoes in many of their diets. Another important difference in culinary culture in Europe is portion size. Portion sizes are much smaller in Europe in comparison to the much larger portion sizes in the US. Although the French use rich ingredients in their meals, their portion sizes are much smaller than those in the US. This causes many French to be healthier than the majority of Americans, a study known as the French paradox. This is true for the Spanish as well. Finally, much more time is allotted for meals in Europe. In the United States, it is common to get food to go and eat meals quickly. Europeans take time to savor their meals and allow meal times as a time to talk with colleagues, family, and friends. At restaurants, checks only come by request, and waiters have no rush to clear tables once a group finishes their meal. People use food as a means to socialize and take time out of their day to enjoy each other's company. Even after a meal, the French may drink a glass of wine, which is believed to help the body better digest the food that they eat. After lunch, Spaniards believe in taking a good post-meal nap, also known as a siesta. Both the French and the Spanish take time to savor their food and appreciate the people who are enjoying food with them. Overall, the culture of both France and Spain both have a very heavy influence on food in each country. On the trip, we were able to experience the business environments in France and Spain through our company visits. While the professional culture of France and Spain both value work ethic and profitable ideas, the two countries envision success and business practices in different ways. We were able to witness this firsthand during our company tours. Beginning in France, we saw Seb and Eurogerm, both extremely valued businesses to the French economy. In Barcelona, we saw Acoustics and Insulation Techniques, also known as AIT, and the Port of Barcelona. In France, the employees were passionate yet serious about their work. They welcome questions and discussion, but were not uber-friendly as people from the US can sometimes be. Today's translation says that business people in France are usually straightforward, questioning, and probing. In contrast, the men of AIT were warm, welcoming, passionate, and the CEO even treated us as if we were old friends. There was a stark contrast in the friendliness in the workplace. French employees treated coworkers as just that. They were kind with each other, but formal. The Barcelona coworkers treated each other as family. They knew what the other was going through and would alter their work to help in any way. Passport to Trade confirms that attitudes of the Spanish at work by stating, generally the Spanish are a very open and communicative people. They value highly their families, personal relationships, and cultural traditions. It was amazing to see how the personalities of the Spanish were so different than those of the French in the workplace. While the people that inhabited the businesses felt extremely different, the drive and importance placed on business was the same among all countries. Both companies valued global commerce and have American customers, such as Eurogerm with Panera Bread. All of the employees we met were hardworking individuals who gave their work 100%. It is clear that while they are all different, France and Spain's business climate is profitable and provide economies in which the U.S. should look to interact with more often. Clearly, Tourism is popular in both France and Barcelona. However, the people of each country tend to deal with tourism in their own ways. France is the top tourist destination in the country. With the glamour of Paris and the quaintness in smaller towns such as Dijon, we can see why so many people, 89 million in 2017, would make the country a top priority. With tourism contributing more than 80 billion euros to the French economy, it is a vital part of the well-being of the country. The French have a major reputation for being rude or uninviting to tourists, especially Americans. Thankfully, we were able to talk to an American living in France to see how much of that reputation is truly deserved. This clearly does not keep tourists away, as tourism has been on the rise since taking a fall after the 2015 terrorist attacks. Many people around the world, including the French, think that Americans are loud. While we were at BSB, however, we learned that much of the reason that we are louder than the French is because English is a more projected language, while French is more of a soft-spoken language. There is also a culture held by the French that suggests that Americans are uncultured and entitled because we often assume that people speak English and don't try to speak French. Even though we found someone that spoke English nearly everywhere we went, we couldn't help but imagine how frustrating it must be to have someone in their community not even try and say hello in the language that they speak. On the other hand, Spain also remains one of the world's most popular travel destinations, with about 60 billion euros of the country's GDP stemming from tourism. 75 million people visit Spain each year, and Barcelona is one of the top 20 most visited cities in the world. But it has not always been this way. The number of tourists raised 25% from 2012 to 2016. As tourism changed, so did the ideas about tourists. Many Barcelona locals are not ecstatic about the rise in visitors. Sure, the increase in jobs and capital is positive, but the quaint Barcelona that they once knew is no longer. The cost of living rises exponentially with the rise in tourism, and many locals have been forced to move due to raising cost. And the overcrowded streets and public transit make daily activities harder than ever before. Locals believe that the city is so overcrowded and has more than enough tourists than in a recent survey. The government learned that more than half of Barcelona's citizens believe that no further effort should be made to increase tourism. Clearly, both countries see tourism as a main source of economic growth. However, tourism comes with certain downsides as well. We had an amazing trip, and we're so lucky to learn about global perspectives from both a business and cultural standpoint. We hope this video proved to show comparisons and contrasts between the tourism, food, and business culture in both France and Spain. Thank you TCU Study Abroad, Laura Mead, and Susan Kleiser for an amazing trip that we will never forget.